My name is Myra Goodwin, and 3 years ago, my entire family fell apart in less than 5 minutes. It happened during a Sunday dinner at my parents' house, the kind of picture-perfect family evening my mother cared so much about. The table was set perfectly, the roast was still steaming, and everyone was pretending we were the kind of family people admired at church. Then my younger sister Josie quietly announced that she was pregnant. Before she could explain anything else, my father stood up so fast his chair slammed into the wall and shouted, "You are no daughter of mine." My mother did not defend her. She calmly walked to the front door, opened it, and told her to leave the house immediately. I still remember Josie standing there completely frozen, one hand resting on her stomach while tears rolled down her face. Nobody asked if she was okay. Nobody asked who the father was. In a single moment, my parents chose their reputation over their own daughter. Later that night, during a heavy rainstorm, Josie showed up at my apartment carrying only a backpack and an ultrasound photo. Her mascara was smeared down her cheeks, and she looked like someone who had just lost everything. I did not ask questions. I pulled her inside, made her tea, wrapped her in blankets, and told her she was staying with me. From that moment on, we were on our own. I started working extra hospital shifts to pay the bills while Josie tried to survive the pregnancy under the weight of humiliation, fear, and complete silence from our family. My parents never called, not once. They ignored hospital updates, ignored the birth of their grandson, and sat in church every Sunday pretending they had done nothing wrong. Meanwhile, our town whispered about Josie behind closed doors while the pastor of our church used her situation as an example of shame during his sermons. But there was one thing nobody knew. Josie had been hiding the identity of the baby's father the entire time. Even I did not know. For nearly 2 years, she protected that secret because she believed the truth would destroy someone else's future. Then one afternoon, while putting away laundry, I accidentally discovered an old handwritten letter hidden inside her nightstand. The letter was addressed to Ethan Harmon, the son of Pastor Greg Harmon, the very man who publicly judged my sister from the church pulpit. That was the moment everything finally made sense. Ethan and Josie had been secretly in love for years, but before Ethan left to study engineering in Germany, his father interfered. Pastor Greg deleted Josie's number from Ethan's phone, lied to his son, and convinced him that Josie had moved on with someone else. Ethan never knew she was pregnant. He never knew he had a son. When I finally contacted Ethan and told him the truth, his entire world collapsed. Within weeks, he flew back home from Germany to meet the child he never knew existed. I will never forget the moment he saw Micah for the first time. My nephew ran across the apartment parking lot yelling, "Daddy!" without even understanding why the man standing in front of him looked so familiar. Ethan broke down crying right there on the pavement while Josie stood beside him shaking with fear and relief at the same time. That reunion changed everything. Ethan stepped fully into their lives, supported Josie, built a relationship with his son, and slowly started rebuilding the family that had been stolen from them by lies and pride. But the real explosion came months later at Micah's 3rd birthday party. My parents suddenly wanted to reconnect after hearing rumors around town that Josie's life had turned out well and that the father of her child was someone respectable. They showed up carrying fake smiles and my mother's famous casserole dish, acting like the last 3 years had never happened. Then Ethan walked into the backyard holding Micah in his arms, and my father realized the truth instantly. The little boy they abandoned was the grandson of the church pastor's family. My mother stood there speechless while guests watched in complete silence. For the first time, my parents had to confront the reality of what they had done. They did not reject Josie because she was wrong. They rejected her because they cared more about appearances than love. And now everyone could see it. Then Pastor Greg himself arrived at the party, trying to control the situation before the truth spread further. But it was already too late. Ethan openly confronted his father in front of everyone and revealed how he had been manipulated for years. Guests stood frozen while the pastor who preached about morality was exposed as the person who destroyed his own son's relationship and helped tear apart another family. My mother finally realized that the man she trusted so blindly had lied to everyone, including her. But by then, the damage was already done. Josie had spent years crying herself to sleep, raising a child without support and rebuilding her life from scratch while both families abandoned her. In the end, the people who truly showed up were not the ones connected by blood or church reputation. It was the people who stayed during the hardest moments. Ethan became the father Micah deserved. Josie rebuilt herself into a strong, independent woman and eventually became a nurse. And I learned something I will never forget. Family is not defined by who shares your last name. Family is the people who stand beside you when your entire world falls apart. My parents spent years trying to protect their image, but in the process, they lost the very people who loved them most. And by the time they realized it, Josie had already built a better life without them.